you hear a voice from inside, and you hear some rustling of feet and shifting of chairs and papers being piled. I'll be right there. Just one moment now. The door opens a moment later after a few more chairs are shuffled around, and you see this gentleman. He appears to be a half-elf man. Let's see, about 26 years old. He is the banker. Slender face, kind of a golden hair, neatly dressed. He seems to have been in the middle of something, but he opens the door and welcomes you in. Please step right in. Step right in. And who are you?
Why, hello there, Golden One. My name is Lorien. Lorien Molten Tongue. I'm afraid I've come here for a sad reason. My dear cousin, Urwell, passed away. And I've come to settle her affairs. I was advised to come here to start that process. Might you be able to help me out?
Yes, you're the beneficiary for the will. This happened about a month ago. I know you've come a very long way. We were going to close the offices very soon, but I'm very happy to see that you've come here. Please come into my office and we'll have a seat. He closes the door behind him and brings you into a room with a big table, and he invites you to sit at the table. The room is well lit, and it seems to be very well organized. Lots of books, lots of paperwork, and he seems to be shuffling through a wooden cabinet with files in it.
Terribly sorry to inconvenience you, my dear. I know it's late, and I do appreciate you helping me out very much.
He nods, and he seems to be very distracted by the paperwork. He turns to the two of you, and he says to the half-elf fighter, he says, You don't appear to be a drow. Are you Nim? Are you Nimlawe? Nimlalwe?
No, I am not.
You are not from the House Tima. Not from House Tima, no?
No.
Well,
I'm Falmanov.
okay. I thought the other beneficiary was to meet you here. Are you not relatives with them, Lorien?
To be honest with you, I have met Nimlawe, but only just today.
Oh, really?
And she said nothing about this. In fact, I told her I was coming here, and she mentioned nothing.
Oh, I'm surprised. You are actually related. Did you not know this? You're related by law, of course.
I fucking know that.
No.
Okay. Well, you have a seat, and I'm going to make sense of it all. I'm just very glad you made it here. Did you travel far to get here?
Yes, it was a month at sea.
A month at sea? My. So it is true. Very well. Wait one moment while I sort out this paperwork. I want to make sure to get this done before sundown. The turn now switches to Nim.
Nim looks around, hopes that no one is seeing, and she runs down to the legal offices to see if she can to see about the appointment.
Very good. Because you do notice that the sun is getting a little lower in the sky, and you did remember hearing that the legal offices generally don't stay open past sundown, so it's a good thing that you're running down there. You come to a door that is, it's a neat door.
She kicks it open.
Oh, let's do a strength check. Strength check.
What?
Strength check.
Alright, ready boys?
Ready, boys?
There's this awful commercial about settlements. They say, I want my money and I want it now!
So as you kick the door in, as your foot is slamming into the door, you realize that it wasn't locked, and it flies open, causing some damage to the face of the door, and also splinters a little bit of the frame of the door. Switching over to Falamar and Lorien's view, the lawyer immediately straightens his back and grabs the paperwork to his chest in what appears to be pure fear as a loud slamming noise emanates from the main room. He immediately starts pacing back and forth and peeks through the slightly opened door to his office, and he immediately starts hushing to you guys to all kind of stay low. If you'd like to make an insight, if both of you would like to make an insight roll, please do so.
Yes.
Very good. So Falamar in particular notices that he is sort of whispering and mumbling to both of you that, that there have been some cultists in the city lately, and he's very fearful that the cultists are now attacking the legal offices and maybe even trying to go in and fuck with the legal paperwork and banknotes.
Ooh, crumbs.
I crouch down, pull my dagger out, and try to make really, significant eyes at my guard, and look at his sword or his axe or whatever he's got, and back up at him and at the door.
I kind of move myself in front of the two to kind of block the doorway in a sense and see if I could make sense of the area that person has entered into. So I'm gonna roll
Nim would try and enter the door.
You hear
By
lots of
elbow checking it.
you hear lots of rustling and scampering feet in the office to your right, and you do see that the door is slightly open, and you do see movement. You see somebody moving in there, like hushed.
She would,
yeah.
She would draw her her bow, and load up an arrow.
Alrighty, the bow is loaded.
Alright, good.
What do you choose to do next?
She would pull back the arrow and hold it out, just to be sure. She then shouts, "Whoever is there, I'm ready to kill."
You hear a voice yell back, "It's Jaron McKinnon, the banker. Please don't hurt us. We'll do whatever you say. We're not with the Church of Lathander. Please, just don't hurt us."
I give a very distinct "what the fuck" look to my guard. Do I recognize Nim's voice?
You do recognize his voice.
Her voice, yeah.
Her voice.
Is that who
Nim?
I think it is?
Nim, is that you? What in blazes is wrong with you, girl?
What the Lauren, how the fuck are you here?
I told you I was going to the law offices to see about my cousin. Now, why are you blasting in here and threatening to murder people?
I wasn't gonna murder
Gods,
people.
have you gone around the bend?
No, I haven't. You have.
What have you been drinking? Have you been eating random mushrooms that you find growing on the alley walls? Is that what drow do? I mean, I don't want to be prejudiced or anything.
Nim would walk over and slap him to shut up.
Through the closed door?
Yes. She would barge through the door.
The door is easily opened, as it was open ajar already a bit. She comes through, and what happens next?
Apparently she's gonna try to slap me.
If you choose to do so, you may make a that would be a dex.
Strength check.
Dex roll.
Dexterity.
Dexterity against her AC.
So
your AC, Lorian, is...
I'm going to advise
11.
against that, and she would just shout at him to shut up.
You don't have to slap. So if you're going to shout instead, you may do so.
Yeah, she's going to shout at him to tell him to shut up.
All right.
Good gods, what is wrong with you? Really?
Nothing much.
Temperamental.
Yeah.
Did you break down the door? Did you really? Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do this thing? Are you suicidal? Are you thinking dark thoughts? Do you feel that you have no hope in the world? Because
Nim would roll her eyes. Nim would roll her eyes and just act like it's not gonna work, and just shrugs.
Since I have met you, you have done nothing but come up with ways to get yourself killed. Girl, what is your problem?
Whoa, you gotta have... Can't you?
You.
What?
I sit back down at the table and put my hands around my face again and sigh.
She would roll her eyes and shake the lawyer's hand.
He's very guarded and holding the papers against his chest still. He does shake your hand and it appears to be very confused about what just happened. He waits for you to speak first.
So she approaches the lawyer again and asks, "So I'm here to talk about. Sorry, I'm just getting up. I'm here to talk about my late uncle."
Your uncle. Are you the
Yes.
other beneficiary?
Yes, I am. My uncle is Durinor Cromviel.
Okay. Please have a seat for a minute. I don't know. Are you okay? I mean, listen, we've been having attacks on the city from cultists. So I'm a little jumpy. You have to understand that.
Oh, whatever. It's just cultists. Why don't you just kill them?
Just have a seat for one moment and we'll get started.
She
So
would she would sit on the chair and put her feet up on the table.
Very well. And in a moment he comes back to the other side of the table and says to you all, "Okay, now let's get this straight. Please tell me who each of you are so we can get started, and please present to me your customs pass from the docks or the main gate or wherever it is you came through the city."
Nim would throw the paper at the table. Well, throw the paper onto the table. She just says, "Well, I'm Nim Lalway of House Tima."
Very well. And the rest of you?
With one hand still palming my forehead, I reach into my paperwork, hold it out gingerly, and say, "Lorian Molten Tongue, cousin of Erwell." And very, very confused.
He collects the paperwork, and you?
I pull out the paper from my pocket, hand it to the man, and say, "Almanar of Enrose, here to be an escort to this elf."
Very well.
Okay.
Okay, so he collects the 3 pieces of paperwork and sorts them into a cabinet. And then he says, "So you are all here for the will of Erwell Nelathar and Durinor Cromvale." He stumbles over their names as he's not used to saying the drow name. You all recognize Durinor Cromvale as a drow name of drow origin, and you recognize Erwell Nelathnar as a high elf name. He says, the niece of Durinor Cromvale is one of the beneficiaries, and the cousin of Erwell Nelathar is also one of the beneficiaries. As far as we know, they both passed away about a month or 2 ago from the rot, this disease that is going around.
And Nim would look mortified, and she can't believe she's related to Lorian.
By law, you
Lorian
two apparently are
mirrors.
related, he says.
Lorian mirrors this facial expression.
Oh, great. Okay.
Aghast.
All right, so so the lawyer, as he allows you to come to the. Sorry, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Slowly lowers their head to the table with a soft thunk.
Right. So he explains. I don't know. Do you all know how wills work? Especially in Port Firth, sometimes we do things a little differently here. Have you ever? Do you know how this process works? If not, I can explain it to you.
Please do.
So once again,
guess.
my name is Jaron McKinnon, and I'll be the executor of this will. So the testator is the person who wrote the will and who wanted the will to go through. That would be Dirinor Cromwell, and his wife, who's also technically one of the executors or one of the testators of this will. You two are the beneficiaries, being that you're directly related to the next of kin of each of them. And there is a trustee who is maintaining the property. One of you is actually earning a deed to a castle. The trustee is Levison Farthing. He is there now, tending to the castle until you're able to get there. But this can explain most of it for you. He hands you each a copy of the will, the two of you, but Falamar can also look over your shoulder and read it as well. I'm going to share this with the party.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two copies of this, one given to Nim and one given to Lorien. That is something you can add to your inventory. So I'll read it aloud as Jaron reads it aloud as well. So according to this will indeed, it says, Dirinor Cromwell's next of kin shall inherit the grounds and estate of Belmare Castle. Henceforth, all assets within the estate shall be inherited by Erwell and Nelthanar's next of kin. So that would be you, Lorien, I believe. Did you say you are the one who is, you're Erwell and Nelthanar's cousin? Is that correct?
Correct.
Very well. Furthermore, Arcos, the house pet, is to be cared for by Trustee Levison Farthing until the beneficiaries make their arrival. The trustee shall organize the funeral and tend to the grounds until all beneficiaries present to him this testament and deed. And you, Nim, are the beneficiary of the castle itself. Belmare Castle, to be precise. This paperwork here will act as the deed for Belmare Castle, which is located deep within the northern Belmare mountain range. The castle is grand. Here is a painting of it, and he gives this painting to Lorien. This painting was part of Erwell's belongings, and it is now passed on to you, Lorien. So this is an item you can also put in your inventory. I'm going to share this with the group. This is a painting of Belmare Castle. This is the castle that is awarded to Nim, who now owns the castle, and all of the assets within are being passed on to Lorien. So you can tell, all three of you, based on your knowledge of estates and things like that, that a castle like this wouldn't have just been run by one or two people. You now know that there's only one trustee there, so there's only so much upkeep that could be had, but a castle like this is only owned by a lord of great wealth, someone who had lots of wealth. So you perceive that there to be whatever assets are in there are valuable. Jaron continues. He opens a wooden armoire, or like a cabinet, and he takes out a fanciful looking box. He walks over to Nim and says, this box is also strictly, the strict instructions say that you are to be the owner of this box, whatever it is or whatever it may mean. And he hands you the box. It looks like that. So that's something you can put in your inventory. You can say, you can call it the fanciful box or something. It's made from bronze.
Alright, I'll put that in my inventory. Just give me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it under treasures, alright?
You got it.
Yeah, sure. I'll just put it under carried.
All right. And so he says that, I mean, that's really everything that was in the will. I just need you two to sign here for my own paperwork, and please use the signet ring on the wax. to prove that you were here and that you received the information, the deed, and the part of the will that pertains to you both. So he slides 2 pieces of paper, one to each of you, and a quill and ink to sign.
Nim signs.
I sigh heavily. This is going to be such a clusterfuck. And signed.
After he puts the paper away, he says, "Oh, there's one more thing. I'm so forgetful today. I just the kicking in the door startled me. I just couldn't remember these things." He takes out 2 small bags that are tied at the top, also part of the will. He says, "The beneficiaries are also entitled to this." He hands each of you a small sack of 100 gold each.
Bloody hell, okay.
Alright, I'll add that too.
Lovely.
Lorian, make an intelligence roll, please.
Was that just for the 2 of them?
Just for the 2 of them, correct?
Do I have to make a roll?
No, just Lorian.
No.
Oh, cheers, thanks.
Let's see. How do I make an intelligence?
I think you just click on intelligence, if I'm not mistaken, on your character sheet.
Yeah, it's not doing anything.
Let me take a look. Yeah, where it says intelligence.
Sorry, I clicked in the wrong. Are you serious? Are you serious right now?
So when you make this roll, you remember that you should be paying your bodyguard daily for his services, but since your intelligence roll is so low, you actually don't remember what the daily cost was, what the fee was. But you do remember that now you have wealth, you do owe him for the day's work, and you do remember that he did protect you and help you when you were surrounded by a mob of angry people. His strength and presence did aid you in your persuasion.
All right.
So,
Alright,
that
then.
being said, Jaren says, do you have any questions about this process? I know this is a lot for you and you all came from very far away. Do you have any questions before I close up the legal offices for today?
Yeah, do you know how we get there? And is there a key? I mean, it's up in the mountains somewhere, right?
Do you have a map? Actually, out of character. So, Falamar does actually have a map. He's the only one of you who has a map. I forgot to tell that to you, and you can add that to your inventory. I apologize. Also, I didn't explicitly have time to go through your inventory, but you can add in whatever your class and background would award you, plus a map. So what I'm going to do is drag us all to the map section very quickly.
Okay.
So Jaren McKinnon takes out a quill and pen and says, "May I draw on your map to show you the general region where the castle is?"
Yes, of course.
Right. Let me see if I can actually draw here. Hold on a second.
Should be able to. Top left, there's a brush.
Okay, there. I just drew a circle, and you see that there is a circle in a general area of the northern Dwalin Mountains. The different areas are called Southern Dwalin Range, Eastern Dwalin Range, and Northern Dwalin Range. So the circle there is in the Northern Dwalin Range, just west of Grayold. He's unable to give you any more specific information about the whereabouts of the mountains.
Well, it looks like we're hiring that mountaineer.
No, let's wonder if we could lower his price just a bit.
Yeah. That seems awfully expensive. I mean, like, I'm paying you. And I trail off.
Have you forgotten?
Yes. Yes.
So,
I'm sorry, Duckling. I have.
Falmanar, you actually remember that it was 5 gold a day for your services.
Well, just so you don't forget again, it is 5 gold for my services. Dang.
Thank you. I appreciate your honesty. I do remember now. Yes, that was it. And by the way, here you go. And I give him 5 gold.
Very good. So he can add that to his inventory when he gets a chance, and you
And
have to minus
I
5 from your
remove it.
inventory.
Yes.
Very good. Jaren puts away the rest of the paperwork, the pen and quill, the quill and the ink, and he says, if you don't have any further questions, I really must close up shop now. But I do appreciate your journey and your timeliness in this matter.
Certainly. I appreciate your patience, and so sorry that my parent, whatever she is, terrorized us all so much. I only just met her. Can't really answer for her. I hope she didn't do any damage.
She would flip Lauren off, give him the finger.
I'm just
Take a
happy
seat.
that she was here on time. It's very rare that people coming from such a long way for these things are on time. So thank you for all being here at once. It makes my job a lot easier, you have to understand.
I'm sure.
You're welcome. Well, you enjoy the festival you're going, right?
The festival, excuse me?
Isn't there a festival tonight at the tavern?
I don't have time for such festivities, I'm sorry. I don't really know what's happening in town. But if you did hear something like that, I'm sure there's a festival going on. But I must tell you, a lot of times people do not go to the property that they have earned in time, and all I'm saying is be careful on your journey. The Dwaland Mountains are not to be taken lightly.
Oh, do you know a dwarf named... What was the dwarf's name again?
Intelligence roll. That's how memory works, yeah.
I better get this one this time. Sorry.
Nim would just nod and then leave.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You, although you forget his name, you do remember it had his house name, or his family name, was something resembling some form of strength. Something that resembled his physique, which was very strong as a mountaineer and porter.
You know the dwarf, the one with there's something strong in his name, who does mountaineering around here, that comes to the inn and offers his guidance. Smokes a pipe, really lush beard.
Jaren, you see Jaren stroking his very smooth chin, but as he's thinking to himself, he shakes his head. I'm sorry, that just doesn't ring a bell. I can't think of such a dwarf. If I could help you, I would.
Oh well, appreciate it. We'll take our chances. Oh, I think I'm a little dizzy. I'm not thinking straight. Just everything's just been such a shock.
Well, I'm sure being awarded such a great fortune must not happen every day for you. I can't tell you much about the castle, but I can tell you that the man must have been a very wealthy lord to own a castle like that. I can't imagine what treasures you'll find inside.
Well, maybe it'll be something that can help this poor town.
I mean, we're not a poor town. I mean, clearly there's a disparity between the nobles and the impoverished, but I mean, we're doing fairly well for the Dwaland region.
Well, it must be a pretty poor town if the people won't repair the temple and heal its population of this rot. Something must be wrong.
There are very few people who are talented enough to cure people of the rot. It's a very dangerous disease.
I see.
I wish it upon no one.
We've lost 2 family to it. So
Look. Can we just head back to get back to the tavern?
Yes. Let's let the poor man rest. He's had such a fright today. And I shoot daggers at Nim.
You all notice the sun coming very low through the window. You can tell that the sun is setting as you have this conversation.
I leave. I leave.
well.
I
He
and head towards-
Jaren gestures to the door to your right as the exit. So yeah, okay.
All right, so we leave that way. That's probably good.
Nim runs back to the tavern.
All right. So you're going to be a little ahead of them because you have a faster pace as you're running. Let's see here. Nim runs a little bit out of view as he goes far down the street.
She.
I'm so sorry. I keep doing that. Roll a perception.
Oh boy, yay. Perception, my guy. Are we ready, boys?
You're
Boom.
so ready. 9.
No, we're not ready.
9 is not terrible. Because this would stand out to any regular passerby. You do notice that while the two doors on your right were closed of these dingy, dark houses, one of them is now slightly ajar, and it wasn't ajar when you went down toward the legal offices.
Nim doesn't care and just heads straight to the tavern.
Very good. As you enter the tavern, you see that it is much more lively than before, and even before it was lively. You notice that now there are musicians on the stage. One moment. I'm trying to organize this a bit. And there is a flautist, and let me switch the music up a little.
Oh, yeah, great music. Definitely great.
And somebody on a lute. And people, there's a couple of people. You see a halfling kind of doing a little jig by the musicians, and you still see, one or two gnomes up at the front of the bar, and you see even more humans and maybe one or two dwarves in the tavern as well. You do see Kurdu Steelback, the gentleman, the dwarf that you spoke to before, still in the same seat as he was before. The other two party members follow in tow. Actually, I'd like you also to make perception rolls as you pass the houses on your right. While Lorien is sort of briskly walking toward the tavern, she doesn't really notice that Felminar is kind of glancing around and Felminar notices that these two houses on his right are far more rundown than other houses on the block. The door is indeed open on this house, and there doesn't appear to be anybody around.
Can I investigate?
You can investigate. What would you like to do?
I just kind of want to peek inside and see if there's anything going on.
Sure. So as you peek inside, let me straighten your character out 1 second. I would like you to make a dexterity save. Ooh. So you actually trigger an arrow trap, and you take 1d6 damage. You almost dodged it. You realize that as you stepped forward, your foot crossed a very thin thread in the dimly lit room. You noticed it a moment too late. You were almost fast enough to dodge it, and it does strike you in the leg. So I'm going to roll that. I'm rolling that wrong. Oh damn, that's a full 6 damage.
Oh, shit.
Although it does do a full 6 damage to you, it doesn't harm your leg so badly that it slows your movement, which is good. So you're not limping, but it did cut straight through the calf, caused a lot of pain, and dripped a little blood on the floor. But you're able to put pressure on it, and it's although bleeding a little bit, it's not a terrible wound. So if you can add that to your current health, reduce that to your current health rather. Once you do that, you see that. One moment, let me pull this information up.
So how is everybody?
Am I noticing any of this at all? With like five...
Make one more perception roll.
Yep.
-4.
It's a little better.
Oh, absolutely. You notice that your bodyguard walked through a door, and you notice a small yelp of pain, but it's not a loud shout.
Okay, so I wheel around and head that direction. What the fuck are you doing?
Alright, one moment, I'm just checking something.
It caught my eye. I had to check it out. The door was open.
Okay, here we go. I found the information. I'm going to straighten your character out. Do you enter, Lorien?
Well, I'm peering in the doorway.
Okay, it appears to be safe after the trap went off, that is.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Do you stick your head in a beehive too because you noticed it? If you see a wolf den, you crawl on in and go, oh, I wonder what's in here.
So you actually see kind of like a cot on the side there, and on the cot are 3 full sets of fur clothes. They seem to be in pristine condition. That includes the boots, the pants, the jackets, the hoods, gloves for traversing mountains. You make a perception roll, bodyguard. What's your name again?
Val.
Yes, Falaminar. Make a perception roll, please. Ooh, 18, excellent. You also find...
20, it was 20.
It was
20.
Oh,
I'm sorry, 20, right. You also find next to the cot on the ground three pristine grappling hooks with 30 feet of silken rope attached to each of them.
Anything else?
Yeah, you find kind of a box that is unlocked. It appears to be kind of like a chest, but it has no lock on it, and it's rectangular.
Can I... You said it was unlocked?
It appears to be unlocked. You see no lock on it.
Okay. Can I go behind it and then open it that way that it's kind of like opening, but like I'm not in front of it?
You can attempt to do so. It is against a wall, so it'd be somewhat awkward. You might have to go like kind of next to it.
Okay. I'll do that then.
Alright. Did you want to make an investigation on it as well, to just investigate for any traps or anything like that?
Yes.
Sure. Roll investigation.
Absolutely.
There appear to be no strange gears, locks, strings, ropes, or anything of that nature. Do you proceed from the side of it to open it?
Yes.
Okay. It opens, and there appear to be no traps or anything dangerous. It opens neatly. Inside you find a piece of paper with kind of strange words of no language that you know, kind of scribbled symbols and words on it. You can't really make sense of it, but you can add that to your inventory. You also find a contract written on paper in Common, which is the language that everyone understands. And on that contract, it has a few simple words here and there describing the terms of agreement. An agreement with a mountaineer, not Curtis Steelback, but some other mountaineer, a human mountaineer. The name is not specified, but it's just a mountaineer, and he's hired to bring people into the mountains. It doesn't say how many days, it doesn't say what date, but there is a contract with mountaineers for some expedition in the Dwaland mountain range. You also find a signet ring inside the chest with a unique symbol on it. And on the signet ring, the symbol it looks like 2 intertwined S's in cursive. So if you want to take some notes on that for your inventory, I know it's a lot of information.
Let me see if it's down somewhere.
Roll a perception while you take notes on that.
Okay. Wait.
You also find a small little bag tied with string at the top.
Oh boy.
Would you like to look inside of it?
Yeah.
You find 20 gold pieces inside.
Oh damn. I think I'll just leave it there.
Okay. So you're leaving the gold after you picked it up in your hands, mind you, to open it and look inside of it. The turn goes to Lorien. Are you doing anything with the fur clothes or grappling hooks and rope? And you also see Falminar take all these other items, and you also see him leave a bag of gold.
I look at him and say, "What? So, why are you bleeding? And what are we doing in here?"
I happened to be I noticed this building was a little out of the ordinary compared to other buildings that we passed, and I decided.
Well, it was a shit shack. Yeah. Go on.
The door was wide open, so I just invited myself.
I see. Good bodyguarding there, by the way. A+. Walking away from me and going into some random shit shack without telling me. Excellent work.
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done that.
No, perhaps you could have consulted your boss and, hey, you see that open doorway that's just hanging there in that shit shack? Maybe we should just walk on into that shit shack. What do you think, boss? Do you think that's a wise idea?
Okay, I see my fault. Do not need to point it out anymore.
So why are you bleeding? So what happened when you walked into the shit shack?
'Tis but a flesh wound.
You immediately get 1 inspiration point for that.
I have 2. Wait, can I only have 1 at a time?
Well, no. To be honest, oh shit, I forgot. Okay, you already have 1. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I already have
You
1.
don't get 1, but I enjoyed that. We're gonna pause. We're gonna pause this conversation briefly. We're gonna switch over to Nim. Nim, you are in the tavern. What would you like to do?
Nim would look around for the man with the pipe.
The man with the pipe. Ah, yes, he is there. Allow me to get his token. He is not that big. There we go. I had to resize the token. You see him sitting at a table, having a glass of what appears to be a whiskey brewed here at the tavern itself. They brew their own whiskey. They distill their own whiskey, rather.
She would walk to the bartender.
Okay, she goes up to the bartender, yes. Quill is there, the barkeep again, the same man.
She would buy a room for the night.
I'm sorry, buy what? Your mic is a little muffled.
Oh, sorry. Room for the night?
A room for the night.
Ah, yes. That would be, I believe it was 3 silver? 3 silver, aye. Yes. He gladly tells you that, the first room up the stairs will be yours for the night. It is reserved for you now. And he gladly collects the silver and he says, and for that, a drink on the house. What would you like to drink today? In his usual accent. I didn't do the accent, but yeah.
She would decline. She would instead send the drink over to the man with the pipe, with a note to get him to meet her in that room.
Very good. So, what happens next is Quill motions to his bartender. This is the bartender, and
Oh my goodness!
He tells her to tend to your needs because he seems too busy to listen to what you have to say. She comes up to you and says, "One moment, please. Let me get this sorted." Well, bear with me.
I'm Lyra, and I'm here to serve your needs this evening. How can I help you, miss?
Yeah, first cough, please, because you're sounding a little hoarse.
A little hoarse. Okay. Well, what is it that you need? Quill told me you needed something.
Pass the drink over to the man and give him this note. She hands the note over.
Can I ask what's on the note?
No, you will not.
Very well.
She briskly walks away and does as you ask. Roll a perception.
Alright. Come on. What was it?
22.
22.
And you see him read the note as he sips his whiskey. You can see that he already knows that you're in the tavern. You can see that he was already aware of your presence as he looks over at you with a smile. He folds the paper without losing eye contact with you and puts it into the breast of his studded leather armor. And he takes another sip of his ale, his eyes gleaming. What do you do next?
She would go up to the room and then shut the door. Well,
Very
leave,
good.
leave the door unlocked.
Very good. Now we're going to go back down to the other two adventurers. Lorian, your turn.
All right. Well, then I'm going to look. I'm going to examine these items of clothing and grappling hooks that are lying here without touching them to see if they're trapped.
Investigation roll.
Okay. Sorry. Where's it? Investigate. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many points I? Oh.
You don't perceive there to be any traps on those items. However, as you search for traps, you notice that underneath the cot, you see a quill, a vial of ink. You see 2 water skins empty. You see a piece of chalk, and you see a ball of twine. And you also find 10 silver pieces.
Well, I shrug and pocket the silver pieces.
All right. Do you take anything else?
Well, I look around to see if there's anybody peering in the doorways or the windows or anything like that.
Along with your investigation, you don't perceive anyone else to be present other than your bodyguard.
Well, I wonder if any of this is spelled. I mean, it seems like an awfully weird little trap, doesn't it? And look at all of this stuff conveniently placed here, things that we need to go up into the mountains. I mean, I would assume we would want things like this, and look, they're just lying here with nobody around.
I wanted to jump back to Nim for 1 second. I forgot to add something important because he did roll a 22 of his perception. Nim, you notice that there is a very unique signet ring being worn by the gentleman who you bought a drink for. The signet ring that you can see all the way from the bar, actually. You can see that it has 2 intertwined script S's on the signet ring. Did you hear that, Nim?
Hi.
Okay, very good. Back to Lorian.
Yeah. I look around some more. And I say, you know, seems a little too good, doesn't it? Just a little too convenient. Wouldn't you agree, Fowl?
I would have to agree with you on that one. It does seem a little too G to be Teach you to believe.
Hmm. Hmm.
There must be something up here. 3 exact sets of what we need. But I did find this note in the signet ring, and it looks like not a looks like it wasn't one of the dwarves that did this, but maybe a human that takes people up into the mountains.
Right. Hmm. Well, now I really regret picking up these silver pieces, but whatever. I take them back out and toss them back under the bed. You know, somebody living in this shit shack would not own things like this.
No, especially
Go ahead.
especially since they had 20 gold on them in that little pouch over there.
Yeah,
50 pounds.
either a trap. Well, I mean, you're bleeding, or a test. I mean, if they have any way of tracking us, then they'll probably be able to do so. But maybe they won't be too bad if we just leave it here. I mean, it's not like we're poor. We can buy our own goddamn furs. I think we should leave.
I second that.
All right.
All right.
If you both turn to the door, both roll a perception.
Okay. Why are my rolls all so low? I have cursed dice.
Did you both roll? You did, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
As you're walking toward the door, you didn't see this coming in because you weren't facing that way explicitly. Both of you actually notice kind of one of those wall kind of shelves, like a wall shelf with a hat rack. And on the shelf you find 2 sets of thieves' picks, and you find 3 odd flasks with a kind of grayish looking substance on the inside. You know that thieves' picks are not owned by just anyone. In order to own a set of fine thieves' picks, it must be somebody who really must make use of them.
Well, and I step out the door and head
Alright.
towards the tavern.
Very good. Here we go. Do you follow, Felmar?
I do.
Alright.
So I look at Nim, who obviously I'm seeing here, since we just stepped in. Sigh, roll my eyes, and look around for the dwarf.
You see him in the same seat that you left him in, all the way on the right.
Alright, I go approach him. Oh right, Nim,
And you
Nim
don't,
was, already went
yes, you
upstairs.
do not
That's
see
right,
Nim.
yeah.
Just to clarify, you do not see Nim.
I was looking at the little model, but I forgot. Yes, she was upstairs.
You approach him, and he is still really nursing that tankard. It is much lower, though.
Not a drunkard, I see. That's good. So, about that mountaineering, my darling.
Aye.
I
10 gold a
would-
day.
So 10 gold. How about we do 8 gold with a healthy bonus if you get us all where we're going, safe and sound?
Healthy bonus. Not the first time I've heard that before. What do you have to show for it?
To show for it?
Aye.
Well, I say, well, since I do think that you're going to be our guide, I might as well, and I pull the will out and show it to him.
He reaches out to have a closer look at it. Do you allow him to?
Yeah.
Okay, he takes it and has it. I was gonna joke around and say he rips it up. No,
Say
he
it, say
ta-
it. So you were
he
to say
takes
what?
it. He takes it and he has a very close look at it. You see him nodding as he's puffing his pipe, nodding and nodding. He seems extremely interested in this. Hands it back to you very politely. And he motions for you both to sit down at his table.
Oh, I see.
I just kind of stand there.
Okay? He takes a moment to think as he smokes his pipe. And he says, "You seek passage to the Belmere Castle. Is this right?"
It is, yes.
I'm familiar with that range. I'm familiar with that passage. It's dangerous. He looks you over, and he's fascinated.
I smile and flutter my eyelashes flirtatiously.
Did you know the Lord of the Castle? Did you know him well?
I did not. My dear cousin, with whom I shared some small correspondence and saw a little bit of. She's my relative. Not him. Why? Is there anything you're willing to tell me?
There are
I
many
am-
people who are afraid of that castle, afraid of those ranges.
Oh god, please tell me the cultists don't live around there.
I never heard any rumors of that. No cultists there.
Ugh. Thank fuck for small favors. So why do people fear it?
Some say it's cursed, some say there's a powerful magic there. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've traveled there myself. I've never crossed the bridge, I've never been to the castle, but I've seen it. I've seen it from the ranges. I think most of their fears are rumor, but there is magic there. That is true.
Unlike this town, I do not fear a little magic, a little excitement. I rather like getting high. Don't you? Well, that was a mountaineering joke. Just
He
you know.
he ignores the joke and looks over your shoulder at your bodyguard. He addresses him and says, "And you also are willing to go there. Is that correct?"
Anywhere that this one is willing to go.
It's a long journey and it's dangerous. Do you plan to go to the range by sea or land?
Well, which would you recommend?
So he pulls out his own map and puts it on the table. And I'm going to bring us the map on the big screen. And then soon we'll go to Nim's turn. So he points to the map here. Let me see here. I'm going to pull the map out for myself. And he shows you the distance between Port Firth and the northern range. He says, he basically says that by land it will take several days, but he's able to take you there. But if you're able to secure passage, then he will recommend by sea, because by sea it will take about 2 days. By land it could take 4 days or more.
I nod and agree. As sick as I am of boats, it does seem like a better option. We would, of course, pay your passage on that too. What do you think? Oh, terribly wise guard! And that dagger stare again.
I roll my eyes.
If you're able to pay for my passage by sea, I will accept 8 gold per day. But if we must go by land, that will be 10 gold per day.
How much do you think passage by sea would cost?
Depends on your sailor, depends on your ship, and depends on their journey?
Ballpark?
Do I look like a sailor? I'm a mountain man. I can't tell you these things. I don't know.
Fine. Yes, we'll see what we can arrange for passage at sea in the morning.
That's
And
the
if we
best
can do that,
time. The best time to meet
Yeah.
sailors is the morning, just before
Yeah.
sunrise.
ugh, I'm so much more things that I have to do. Very well. We'll get it figured out. So either by sea or land, figure out which one is best. I think I agree. I would rather go by sea. But we'll see what we can find.
Falmanar, make a perception roll, please.
Perception. Oh boy.
You don't notice, but the man that you saw earlier with the pipe walks upstairs. And he enters Nim's room. We'll continue the conversation with the dwarf in just a moment. Nim, it's your turn. You hear a knock at your door, actually. He doesn't enter, but you hear a gentle knock, about 2 or 3 knocks with a knuckle.
She opens the door and drags him in.
One moment. Does that come up when I click on that, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you said you grab him in, is that correct?
Yep.
He allows you to do so while still holding his pipe, but he sets the pipe on a shelf as you do so. Very deftly, very dexterously he does so. He's able to do so while you're pulling him in.
And she does the things.
Does the thing.
that you mentioned in his ear.
Yeah.
He allows you to do the things without a word spoken. But he also does the thing if you allow him. Do you allow him to have his way with you?
Of course.
Very well. I will have you roll a Constitution.
God.
Was that very?
Just roll a Constitution.
Did it roll?
That's a Constitution save. I just need you to roll a Constitution.
And it's here. Boom.
2.
Oh,
So
oh no.
he does. Actually, I'm going to roll something here. One moment. Let me look at his stats. 1 second.
That's a yikes.
I'm going to make this roll public too.
Alright.
So he performs so well, and your Constitution is so low that you fall asleep from satisfaction. The turn goes back to Lorien.
Damn.
Oh shit, what was I saying? Alright, so we'll check first thing in the morning. And figure out by land or by sea, and I would prefer sea, where to go. But I will hire you either way. And I appreciate your bravery and willingness to overcome superstition. So, what are you doing for the rest of the night?
I'll be here in the tavern, and I will turn in after the performers finish their set. But I hope to meet you here, whether we go by land or sea, at sunrise.
Very well. Hopefully we'll make it. Depends on how much negotiating I have to do down at the docks, but do not fear. if I am a little late.
You'll need
Yes, sir.
furs. Furs for you and whoever I'm taking into the mountains. Furs, ropes, rations. My mules ping and pong. Yes, yes, they are ping and pong. They will carry anything too heavy for you to carry, up to a limit. But based on what you're carrying on you, I don't see that to be a problem.
Thank you. All right. That's good advice. Where I come from, we don't really have mountains and snow and all those bothersome sorts of things, you know. So, they're in your very capable hands, my darling. So
Very
I
well.
get up and
Mm-hmm. And?
stalk around the bar. There's supposed to be... Didn't somebody say something about a festival tonight? I say to Fowl.
I do believe so.
Was it supposed to be here or someplace else?
As you say that, the music kicks up, and not everyone, but even more people get up and start dancing and doing jigs, kind of following the lead of maybe two halflings right in front of the performers there. You do remember people in the tavern at your first visit to the tavern saying that it's really just a festival, you know, because the musicians are in town, they're kind of more popular than usual. But you don't really know more than that. It's just a small gathering at the tavern. It's nothing like a big holiday or parade or anything like that.
Okay. In that case, I look around the tavern for the sexiest person I can find.
Investigation roll.
Turns out it's just Foul.
Why so low?
You see Leroy. Lyra is at the front of the bar, and everyone in the bar is already eating or drinking. She seems to be doing a good job. There's not really anybody pining for her attention, nor anyone asking for a drink at the moment. You see her sort of at the end of the bar alone, and on the left side of the bar.
I saunter up to Lyra.
I don't have a
give
token
her-
for her there, but she's there on the other side.
Alright. I give her a smile. And I say, "So, what can I get for you?"
Well, I can tell you what you can really do for me.
Ah, my love, and what is that?
You see old Kathok, the stone-faced, at the end of the bar there.
You turn to your right, and you see at the end of the bar a half-orc man. You see... One moment. You see a half-orc man. He appears to be... he has a very stern look on his face. He doesn't seem to be very amused at the lively music or the jovial dancing going around him. He seems very serious, and he seems to be just sipping away at a large ale. And she continues to talk.
That's old Kathok, the stone-faced. If you can get him to laugh or cry, drinks will be on the house for the whole evening, and you will not have to pay for your room. Don't tell Quinn I told you so, but that's an old deal that him and I have. Whoever gets someone to make him laugh or cry first gets to offer that to the guest.
Very well. I accept your challenge.
The last time we've seen him laugh or cry was 5 years ago. He laughed when somebody tripped and spilled their entire meal all over their face.
I
Since
see.
then,
I
he hasn't laughed or cried since. He comes in here every night.
Well, I'll see what I can do, darling. I turn around and regard this grim-faced fellow.
He doesn't seem to notice you as he sort of hunches over his drink at the end of the bar by himself. You notice that Quinn, the barkeep, actually pays attention to you walking over to him. He stops washing the dish that he is to observe the encounter.
All right. I'm put on the spot here, huh? Let me think for a moment. What is my bodyguard doing, by the way?
What is he doing?
I'm just sitting and watching, making sure nothing goes wrong.
Oh, I remembered.
What do you want? What do you want?
What do I want?
Yeah. What do you want?
I want to know if it's true what they say about half-orcs.
And what do they say about half-orcs?
I lean in and whisper very erotic things into his ear.
Yes, that is true what they say about half-orcs.
Really? I flutter my eyelids at him. I don't suppose you'd be willing to give me a demonstration, would you, my dove?
After I finish my drink, I'll do whatever you like.
Very nice, very nice. I sit down on the stool next to the half-orc. And I say to the bartender, "Do you have any rooms to rent, my dove?"
I'm sorry, you said that to who?
The bartender, to Quinn.
Ah, he says, yes, I have a room for 3 silver.
I'd like to rent them, please.
And you see the man with the pipe
Huh?
walk down the stairs and out of the front of the tavern. Make a perception, both of you in the bar there. And I would also like Nim to make a Constitution roll.
God damn it!
So Lorien and Falminar, you see him walk out the door and into the night. And Nim, please make a Constitution roll. Are you there, Nim? Yes, you are. Are you there, Nim?
Yes, I am there. And just trying to light up the bloody thing.
No problem. So yeah,
Thank
Quinn does
you.
say you can buy a room for 3 silver.
Well, then I purchase a room.
Very well. He shows you the way up, and Nim, you wake up very, very groggy. You remember the wonderful time you had with the mysterious man with the pipe, whose name you still did not get. And yeah, you wake up. You notice your bag is a little bit lighter, though. Make an investigation roll.
Well, shit.
You don't took your stuff.
With a 17, you notice that everything is in there except for that strange bronze box. The strange bronze box that you never did see the inside of. It is no longer in there. So you must erase that from your inventory.
Alright, she
However,
decides she decides to run off. She decides to get up and get dressed, and then try and run after the thief.
All right, as you two are are making your way up the stairs. I need to have both of you make a dex... Actually, all three of you make a dex roll, please.
Oh
Okay.
boy. Dexterity. I got
Oof.
robbed, man. I got Cardi B.
Oh wait, that's the
That's a
saving.
dex save.
I got
How
Cardi B.
How do I just do dex?
It's
Oh,
on.
there we go. There we go.
You see Nim actually come barreling past you and very nimbly jump in between both of you down the stairs, and he's running for the door.
She.
She. Yep, she. She's running for the door. Do you say anything or do anything?
You went out that way, love.
She says thanks and runs faster if she can.
As you go outside, which way would you like to go? Right or left or forward?
Can she make a perception check to see which way she went?
You can either make a perception or an investigation. So perception would be whatever you can perceive around you, and investigation would be if you can find any clues as to which way the person may have gone.
Alright, I'll take a... Yeah. Let me just load up.
So, by the way, I paid for a room. Am I? But I don't remember going up to it. Just paying for it.
Yes, you were on the way up as he ran down the stairs. You were kind of going up as he was running down. But now you are there with your bodyguard in the same room. So Nim rolled an 8 investigation. You cannot perceive anything that would help you determine which way he went. You just see the cobblestones, you see the very sickly person still sitting by the cathedral, and that's all you see, and it's nighttime. It's nighttime in the streets.
She would run up to the sickly man and ask where the man went.
Very well, one moment please.
Man, I got Cardi B.
Yes, you did.
Oh my god.
You see the sickly man in the pale moonlight. You see him coughing up some blood.
She would ask where the master, where the thief went.
Roll a dex save.
Oh, alright, thanks. Back in my day, I tell you. The old blokes dying in the streets, back in my day. Dex save, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Some of the blood almost spurts on your pants and shoes, but you take a step back quick enough so it doesn't get on your boots and shoes. So you see him cough a little bit of blood up, and he kind of wipes it on his arm. You can see he's been doing this all day, as his arm already has tons of dried, crusted blood on his arm.
Lovely.
He says, What did you say? I didn't hear you.
She would repeat the question, but more angrier.
He went that way. And he points to his right, which would be your left, down the way the legal offices were last you perceived.
Alright, she would charge down. Like run.
Very well.
I got Cardi Bead. Fuck.
Okay, you're at another intersection. You see the road you've been down before that leads to those dingy houses that you've seen. And then you see kind of a shadowy... Let me turn that down so loud. You see a shadowy road that leads kind of to a shadowy back alley. And it is nighttime. There's only a few kind of lanterns that are just giving just enough light to see dimly.
I'm going to do another investigation roll.
Very well.
Sorry about this, yo. I got Cardi Bead.
Just a heads up, I'm gonna have to leave soon.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright.
If you want, you can actually turn in for the night in the inn, and we're only going to go a little bit longer as well.
Okay.
So that would work
Yeah.
out fine. I know we kind of went longer than expected, which is always a cool thing. So yeah,
I mean,
if you
it's
want,
wonderful.
your character can start to kind of prepare and turn in for the night up there. I'm going to, before I tell you what happens with investigation, I'm going to tell you, Lorian, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Well, I was still flirting with the orc, I thought. With the half orc. Has he finished his drink yet, or?
He is still sipping his drink, and I'd like you to roll an insight on him, please.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what the insight is real quick.
14.
You can tell that he's not really interested in you. He seems to be a man who likes to somewhat keep to himself, and you can tell he genuinely enjoys being in the mountains alone quite a bit and doesn't really seek the attention of others that much, from what you can perceive. He seems to enjoy light conversation, he seems to be honest, and he seems to really just enjoy his time in the tavern, as he's usually in the mountains. So just being in the tavern and watching people is sort of lively enough for him as is.
Well, then I sit down and chat, flirting lightly, but also telling amusing stories as I can.
Very well. We're going back to Nim now. Nim, you see one or two overturned things into the alley to your right, as if someone was kind of brushing by quickly. You see kind of like an overturned barrel and some knocked over a sack of potatoes at one of the market stalls that seems to be brushed past by quickly. To your left, you just see the old kind of rundown shacks that you saw before in the alleyway, which stood out to you.
Yeah, she would go down the alleyway.
To your right.
Mm-hmm. The one with the brushed over stuff. Oh, and she would draw her bow and... Ah, crap.
You see three individuals with swords. And they're
Just my
short
lucky day.
swords. And you see them all wearing the same signet ring that gentleman in the bar was rolling. I'd like to roll a perception, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you see that they're all wearing the same signet ring with the intertwined silk S's. They seem to be wearing studded leather and black cloaks over their heads. They appear to be roguish in their appearance, and they are standing confidently and smiling, realizing that
crap.
you would probably try to follow them down the alleyway. But you do not see the man that you were chasing, although you believe that they're associated with him.
Alright, she would draw her bow.
Very well.
We're never gonna make it out of the town.
As you
Just
draw the
after me,
bow,
babe.
as you draw the bow, one of them says to you, "Are you sure you want to cross the silk strands?"
Are you sure you wanted to steal from me?
We're going to make it to that castle before you do. And when you get there,
And
there's going to be nothing left.
she would then shoot. She would then shoot at one of the men and one of the people's genitals. Why not?
Very well. Okay. Make a combat roll, which would be. Let me see your stats here. 1 second.
Sure.
So a bow is dex, so that would be a dex
Dex.
plus, or just roll your dexterity, which is like a 20 plus 3, 20-sided die plus 3. And I'm going to make these rolls off of the thing here. Okay, so your arrow goes a little bit higher than them. You shoot a little high. You know, it's been a while since you shot a bow. You've been on the ship for a long time, so you shoot a bit high. we're actually going to pause the game right here. I think we've gone a long way. Give me one moment. I have a phone call, and then I will tell you a little more. Give me 1 second, please.
Sure.
Hello?
So,
Yeah, so we're actually going to end here for now. I think we are in a really juicy spot, and we actually went for quite a while. We went for like 3 hours, which is pretty sick.
wait, seriously? Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's been about 3 hours, so that's really awesome. Time flies when you play D&D, I'm telling you. So just to recap and bring us all up to speed, we're in Port Firth. We found out that 2 of the party members are directly involved in a will. One of them earned a castle, and the other one earned all the assets within the castle.
Which are all going to be stolen by the time we get
the person who earned the castle got a mysterious bronze box. Not sure what the contents were, but it appears to be that there is some kind of thieves guild that is also interested in the castle and its contents. And it seems that now that you have time to think it over, and if you do eventually get to meet up and talk about it, you can know this out of character, but it seems like those shacks that you found in the residential district may have been owned by the thieves guild, and some of their supplies there are for the mountain expedition. They may be racing you there to the castle to rob it. Now, was the key to the main gate of the castle in the bronze box? We don't know. But if it was, it's now in the hands of the strange, handsome rogue. We'll see if you choose to take
I got Cardi B, man.
We'll see if you we'll see if you choose to take We'll see if you choose to take the journey by sea or by land. Both have their repercussions and their merits. So,
Kill them.
Sigma, although you were duped by being seduced, you actually played your character as your character should have, even if it puts you in dangerous situations. And that's something that we always reward in D&D, so I will give you an inspiration point. You now all have an inspiration point for next time. We will be picking this up in probably like a month's time, so do be patient with me on that. And then also you have a room up with 2 cots in it at least, so Trash Panda has a place to sleep for the night. He's turned in. Ev is still down at the bar, kind of mingling with some of the people down in the tavern. And
I seduced the half-orc.
And Nim is, facing off against 3 rogues in an alleyway at night by himself. So we're in a pickle. It's actually pretty cool. And you guys have, you guys kind of have your bearing in the city now. You kind of know what's what, and you've actually done some cool RP. You actually talked your way out of a situation that could have turned bloody with the stonings. You helped somebody, and there's a lot of little mini quests going on already. So it's actually pretty cool. I'm glad you guys are getting into it. Did you guys have any questions or anything so far?
Am I still hurting still?
If you successfully complete an 8-hour rest, you get back a certain